Hey guys, we're moving ahead quite well with this 1944 Custom Coupe. You saw us last time, we got that roof skin dropped into place, and since then we've actually snapped it over the roof structure. There's a 1/2 inch leg that goes around the perimeter like a flange, and we snapped it over the structure, got the screws in place, so that's all sitting where it used to sit before, well, when we had it outside actually. Welcome to iNVision Prototypes, I'm Nick. Okay guys, grab a piece of paper, notepad, pen, pencil, Sharpie. Sharpie would be great. And let's start making a list of everything we need to do before we finalize that flange up there. You ready? Okay, so to get that flange finalized, we have to take and mount the rubber seal. Before we can do that though, we have to get the mock-up glass, the templates we created earlier, moving up and down and set into the proper locations. However, we don't have any doors, so we have to get the door shells installed, get the power packs installed, and then we can mock up the glass. However, before we do any of that, I have to take and install these wiring harnesses because I don't want to be crawling around with this door in the way. It's a lot easier at this point. However, before we do that, I'd like to get the sound deadening in so we're not pulling the harnesses back out later to get the sound deadening in afterwards. I want to get the sound deadening in, get the harnesses run, get the door shells on, get the power packs for the doors so we can operate the windows. Unfortunately, we can't roll these windows up and down. How many of you guys remember rolling windows up and down? Put it down in the comments. I'm curious. Anyway, so once the windows are operating, then we can set that rubber seal up in here and screw it up into place into the structure. And then at that point, we can see how far off this edge is. It could be exact, I'm not sure, because we have the car apart a number of times since we've mocked those up the first time. And if we have a bit of a gap anywhere, we can adjust it. This flange is still open, so we can move it this way or that way if we need to. And we'll take care of all that with the rubber seal out, of course, because there'll be a lot of in and out just to make sure that everything is adjusted. Once that is done, then we'll have a proper seal fitting exactly around the glass without any leaks. If you're off a 1/16 of an inch, you'll get wind noise, you'll get water coming in, and you don't want any of that. So we have a lot of work to do today. Let's get started. So this is the sound deadening we're going to be using, and I'm just going to start fitting things into place. See how well we can get around with the larger pieces before we start cutting things. There's not much to this. You basically lay it in. Then you have one of these rollers and you basically just roll it out until it's stuck down to the floor. We're going to get in later, clean up all the little edges, make sure it's stuck on well. You want to make sure all your surfaces are perfectly clean. There's no dust or anything on them. Here, use a little bit of lacquer thinner, just kind of cleaning things up. And peel back the paper membrane and lay it into place. You can see the factory sound deadening that was applied here. And we're not taking that off. We'll probably go over top of it if we need to, if we have enough of this. But right now, I want to get the main floor sections done so we can get the harnesses in through here. We were able to get away with 2 full sheets without trimming or cutting anything in the back seat pan area. You basically laid it out, rolled it out, and stuck it down, and it really makes a difference. Take, for example, this piece here. As soon as I... But when I put it back down, you can hear me again. You can hear the difference between non-coated, it's more echoey, and the coated material. So let's get back to work and finish up this front. Once you stick it down, I mean, like, you can tack it down, you can still move it around to a degree, but once you push down on it, it really sticks down to the floor, and good luck moving it. So that's why I peel the paper back a little bit at a time. Unlike the first one I did. Got a little too ambitious, but I had a little more room to work in that area too. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So I am going the right way. Got the sound deadening all installed in the car, inside the cabin area. Got the harnesses run, snapped into place on the rocker. And once we get the door shell on and the seal established, we'll be able to finish this area off. We'll know exactly where the seal is going to sit, and then we can shape up some sheet metal and get that into place and re-strengthen this area here. Okay, let's get this in place. There we go. We won't install the strikes on the back. We'll just get these bolts in here for now. Hopefully it stays. Not quite. So having the latch in place actually helped us in aligning the hinges, because right now the door is settled down. What I might do is get a piece of block of wood installed here. Just a simple shim. Should be able to help us out here. Like so. Now, this door jamb area is actually tipped ahead, so we're gonna have to pull that back. See, the quarter panel actually held that in alignment, so there we go. That's in place. Now we can do up our hinges. Reef these up. Now let's see if I remember how this goes. I believe like that. So we have one stud that goes down to the bottom of the door. Good. Okay, that fits. So this is all original Mustang mechanism, these power packs here. It's just been reconfigured, reshaped to fit this coupe. With the Mustang, these tracks are a lot more curved, so we have to take and adjust that. Okay, let's get some nuts on this. Well, that opens nice. There are self-contained pockets, so except for this one, I took the nut out of that one, but this one, the nut didn't want to come out, which is fine. Just means we won't lose it. You know what it is? 11mm. Be right back. The right side socket helps. And the other problem is we're too shallow. I'll be right back. Oh, that's better. Now we're actually doing something. You can see the original hole for the tracks. So the theme behind this car is if the Ford Motor Division took and created a Ford Coupe using the Mustang as a platform. So basically all the components would interchange between the two. They do it all the time with different models. They use something as a base and just rebody it as a new concept. We've got a doorstop to put in here, but we can do that later on because we don't want to rely on the hinges to stop the door from opening all the way. So that's it for this door. I'm gonna go on the other side, do the other door, and then we'll get the template for this side, and which is the same for both sides. I'll get the template installed on the door. Okay, so with that installed, let's see, the quarter panel, we'll take and pull this door jamb back because right now it's binding on there. Oops, didn't want to do that. Okay, we need to get the wiring harness, get that plugged in, run through and connect it to this plug over here. And then we can take and power this up and see if our template goes up inside and works. Gotta make sure nothing's moved because it has been a few months since we've tried any of this. We're seeing a set of Christmas lights all tangled up here. You know what? We're not gonna go through the hole right now because they'll be taking the harness out again. We have to do some more work, but just for now, let's get things connected on the outside. Snap that in. And just as long as we don't pinch anything when the window's going up and down, it should be fine. Okay, that's good there. Let's get the template and get that installed. Okay, this is just a simple Lexan template to get the proper shape. Oh, we have 2 bolts to undo. This all worked perfectly before we disassembled the vehicle, so hopefully we'll get lucky and things haven't moved around too much. We need to adjust the tracks in and out for the proper angle of approach. Come on. There we go. Don't know why I took this back bolt out because if you notice there was some material missing on the template. We'll have to add to it later on. Now, while we can cut a window out of flat glass, I'm not able to cut circles. So we might have to actually send the glass out or the templates out for get it done somewhere else. It's going to be laminated glass for the sides, not tempered. The thing with plexiglass is that we can bend it, but a sheet of flat glass, whether 3/16 thick or whatever it is, it won't bend. So we have to make sure that everything slides up and down evenly without any pressure on anything. Now we're going to have a little bit of tension on the weather seal, but we don't want any tension on the structure. Okay, now before I did this, I should have actually tested the power pack to see if it works. Well, let's see what happens. Hey, we have life. Nothing, nada. Hey, we have life again. Should be good there. Oh, look at that. It goes up. Good. Okay, let's close the door. Latch it with the door jamb. And let's see if it goes up. Oh, that's down. The other up. Okay, that's good. And there we go. See how much difference there is in this angle here? So we're gonna have to readjust these tracks a little bit to make sure that we have a nice consistent edge because I just took and dropped this in. So you guys can put up with a few dings. Try and get this window installed. Okay, let's leave that there. You can already see that this edge needs to be rolled in a bit more. And that's okay up in there for now. What I'm gonna do is kind of tighten up this flange because it's open and get the rubber seal. Okay, let's do that. Okay, that's driving me nuts now. See, that's comfortable there. Nice, good, good, good. And we got to make sure we have the stop set up, which is there. That's it. This structure is a little bit lower than the actual glass, the time we put the rubber molding on, it should be almost even with the top. Let's get rid of that buzzer. That's driving me crazy now. Let's disconnect the battery. Oh, much better. We have to do one more thing here before we get the molding, and that is get this window installed. That's good there. That bracket's going to mount right there. To drill and tap some holes to mount that bracket in place. Okay, that's good. Now this here, we will take care of that later. I have to get the template from the other window and mock it up in place here. Basically bolt it up to this sliding mechanism. Here's the other one, the other window for the passenger side. So we're basically unbolt that and switch the bushings over. Basically flip them from side to side. Wow, this is righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. The opposite. Some vehicles actually have their lug nuts on one side, left side of the vehicle specifically, tighten by turning to the left. Anybody have an idea what those vehicles are? Put it down in the comments. It goes back a few years, but just a different approach. The thought was if you're driving the car, the lug nuts won't ever loosen. But there we go. See, once we test the power windows, make sure everything works, then we can get the quarter panels on. And we don't have to fight working through that hole to align everything. Try to plan ahead once in a while. So right away I'm seeing that there's a bit of tension on this window. It's kicked out too far. So we're gonna have to adjust this bracket here. It's probably not sitting in the right spot, but we'll make an adjustment there so that it will relieve the pressure. Because you see there's tension on the quarter panel outward. We can't have that. We're gonna have to hotwire this back window for now. Later on we'll get some switches installed and incorporate them into the dash area. Okay, I'm gonna leave this loose, just like everything else. And once we get the top molding installed, after we take and roll that a little bit, because it is, I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit too open, so we're gonna kind of tighten it up, even it out, have the molding up in there, and then we'll fit the windows to that molding. Okay, well that's fitting surprisingly well. Let's take this tail, stick it down out of the way. You might be saying, hey, that looks a lot like the Mustang seal, and that's because it is. But unfortunately, it didn't fit our roof profile. The Mustang had a totally different shape. First off, the window is at an angle here, like this, at the back. So we're gonna have to probably actually take and trim this off, but I'm not sure where yet until we finalize this area. So I'm just gonna leave that there. And then this molding, this plastic molding, we took and recurved it by heating it to fit our new roof profile. And well, you might be looking at other areas of the car saying, hey, that looked different than a few seconds ago. And that's because it is. For you, it's been a couple seconds. For us, it's been a couple weeks since we got to this stage. Right now, what we're focusing on is getting this window template, the one behind me, fitted up into this molding area and making sure it fits before it goes out for cutting. We sometimes cut our own glass, but in this case, we actually have to make holes in it, and that's something I can't do. So we're gonna send it out to get done. What I'm gonna do is take and close the door, latch it, and power the window up and see how it fits. It will be a bit long because we did fit it to the metal edge, so we're actually have to take and trim some of that template away. Make sure the seal is closing properly here. That's not too bad. A little bit tight. That's better. Okay. Now, you need the door latch. Like that. So now the door is going to stay closed for us. I'm going to go power the battery up and move this window up. Hopefully I remember to leave the key in the on position. We'll see. Okay, yeah. So my template is sitting at the wrong angle. Move it around a little bit. Hopefully we can put up with that dinging for a few minutes. Now, that's good there. I'm gonna bump the window up a little bit more. We're gonna do our masking tape trick again. Right there. There, that's the top. And you can see how much difference there is. Oh, there we go. Never mind. That's not bad at all. We're a little bit long here at the front as well as the back in terms of curvature. Once we correct that, we'll take and transpose this line down to where it meets the bottom of the molding. I think we're going to lock this into place here, and I'm going to go turn off the battery, or disconnect the battery. So I don't know if I can put up for that too much longer. Okay, so our molding is exactly 1 inch. I use some 1-inch tape, transpose that edge down. I'm just following the edge of the roof line, because that's where the molding is sitting. Okay, we're going to leave this at this point for now. I'm not going to take and cut that away just yet. We're sitting on top of the molding, that's why it's kicked out. But as soon as this gets cut back and drops down, we'll be good. I want to get the quarter window template up into place and make sure our seam is good. And if all that's falling into place, then we can take and trim that away. So unfortunately, we didn't get this finished up this week. That's the way it goes when you're building a car. Sometimes you have to chase an area up, and then you have to bring and catch other areas up to make sure that everything else is falling into place before we can finalize this area. It's easy to cut glass. Got to make sure the glass works and doesn't bind up, or it doesn't, make sure it seals properly. That's crucial, and that's what takes the time. So, like I said, that's where we're going to leave it. Appreciate you guys watching. See you next time. To see more videos, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share our channel with your friends. Take care, guys.